so we are starting with the nation. New Naira notes go into circulation today. Interest rate now 16.5%. APC to launch crowd pulling app to raise funds. Party rejects campaign plans. Documents on 2.2 billion SWF missing. Ministry tells Senate. No excuses for loss to Saudi Arabia, says Messi. Why Jonathan can't back Atiku by Wike. PDP candidate humiliated ex-president in 2015. Oil. Buhari warns against Niger Delta mistakes in the north. NYSC names Uba as acting DG. Petrol scarcity bites harder in Lagos. What stories do we have?
Okay, so NYSC quickly.
Okay.
It's a very short one. So the NYSC DG has changed. So a woman is Mrs. Christy Uba, and she's to resume as the acting Director General of the NYSC since Brigadier General Mohammed Fada has left his service. And her announcement, the announcement of her appointment came yesterday. She's to take immediate effect.
Oh, that's amazing.
Congratulations.
What other stories do we have?
In Oyo State, the governor has approved the elevation of, that's the promotion of 1,629 workers that had been denied promotion due to what they term system errors between 2017 and 2020. And this was confirmed. And I'm just saying that it's a good thing that, you know, they're able to go back and sort of bring back and promote those who have been denied this promotion. But I hope this is not something that we find across Nigeria, and it's not something that is common. Because to say to someone that you have not been promoted because of some system errors, I think it's unfair. I hope that there's sort of compensation that's also done to make up for all those years that the system errors caused their lack of promotion.
That's painful.
So, political story about the presidential candidate for PDP. And, of course, Wike has been very, very vocal. So Wike is saying that, was explaining why former President Jonathan is not going to back Atiku. And he said that the PDP candidate was humiliated ex-president. He spoke about the fact that Nigerians like to forget history. Like things happen and you choose to forget. That he remembered clearly how the sitting president then, Goodluck Jonathan, went to London after getting the ticket for the election to beg Atiku to come back to the party and support his bid. And the condition that Atiku gave him then was for him to relinquish his bid to continue as a president, and that this was a disrespect to someone who was currently a sitting president, asking just to support the party, that they are not even doing that. They're not disrespecting Atiku. They are saying, you've gotten your ticket, don't relinquish your ticket, but be fair and allow the chairmanship come towards the south, and that's the only condition for them getting to support Atiku towards his presidential bid. I just feel like it is too close to election for Atiku not to have his house in order, because I'm worried about, a lot of people are worried about how you can be vying for president of a country when you cannot even hold your party as one.
So the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has said that the newly redesigned Naira notes of 200, 500, and 1,000 will come into use today. He said this yesterday at the end of the last Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, meeting in Abuja. And he was saying that the president will unveil the new Naira notes at 10 a.m. today in the council chambers during the FEC meeting. However, he didn't tell us why they had moved the date. So they promised they were going to release it December 15th, but now they're moving it to today, which is, I think, 23rd, I guess. And however, he's also saying that the old notes will not be phased out till the 31st, so they are not moving the dates on that. That's good news. So he went ahead to also explain that they had increased the percentage for businesses who lend money from the banks to 16.5%, which some experts are arguing and saying this is really unfair.
It isn't.
It will affect the end consumers at the end of the day, because all the prices will go up and then you have to mark up your prices. But he's saying that they are trying to curb inflation with what they are doing, and so far they have seen results doing this. I just pray he looks at it holistically. So
as someone who is a business person that has a loan with the bank, the point is there are policies that you do for previous loans. You shouldn't make the new interest rate affect the previous loans. But what they do is, once the new interest comes out, they will adjust everything. So you don't know what you are going to be paying anymore. Your timeline for repayment and what you're paying monthly has changed, and that's wrong for current businesses.
Yeah.
That's unfair.
All right, let's move on to The Punch. Atiku, Obi meets Khan, tackle APC on governance. Is late to resume voter registration, court rules. Fuel queues resurface in Lagos, marketers blame depots. New Naira notes for circulation before December 15th. Private sector predicts factories shut down, higher bad loans. CBN interest rate hike will increase manufacturers' 5 trillion debts. Monetary policy tightening will worsen inflation, says Nasima. Punch demands 25.1 million judgment debts from CBN. Impeached Ekiti speaker heads for court. Abuja, Bauchi crashes Kill 44. FRSC plans mass burial. Buhari inaugurates $3 billion oil exploration project in Northeast. Who has what story?
Yeah, I have the INEC story.
Okay.
So 4 parties, Najat Salmat, Ernest Stanley, Chief Charles Okafor, and Mr. Samuel Oluwakemi had sued INEC to court for stopping the voters registration, continuous voters registration, just 208 days before the elections in 2023. And so they were asking the court to declare that INEC was expected to continue voters registration, update it, and do a revision of voters register till 90 days before general elections, according to various sections of the Electoral Act. I don't want to bore you with quoting all of them. And they also asked the court to declare that it is the constitutional responsibility of INEC to make sure that every prospective Nigerian voter who has shown the desire to register to vote are not deprived of their civil rights to register and participate in the forthcoming general elections. And another of the court directing the INEC again to resume immediately the registration of new voters. The court granted everything except the last one, saying that that has been affected by time. Considering the time that the judgment was given, it's just a few days to the 90 days before the 90 days before the
So why didn't they give that judgment early?
So I think they should approach the court early next time, before the next elections, get a preemptive order so that INEC does not do the kind of thing they just did.
So we still are taking the punch. Go ahead.
The president on Tuesday flagged off the commercial production of crude oil and gas from the 3 billion Komani Integrated Development Project. This is located in between Gombe and Bauchi states. This is lies in the Gongola Basin of the Upper Benue Trough. So this just means that now we're drilling oil up north between Gombe and Bauchi states. And the information coming from there is that this field would produce about 50,000 barrels of crude oil per day, and and it holds over 1 billion barrels of crude oil reserves, and that's thereby shooting our own the whole Nigeria's oil reserves to over 38 billion barrels. So economically, our president says this is very good for us, and that even NNPC says there are also other drillable fields around these areas that they will be exploring. The president also said that this particular project attracted attracted 3 billion naira investment, even at a time when globally people are looking away from fossil fuels. But it's also saying that we should use the opportunity to learn from the mistakes we've had so far, in the Niger Delta area, so that we can do better when it comes now that we're doing here for the north. For me, I'm just really interested in knowing exactly the mistakes that we have acknowledged, that we have made, and the ones, that I would like the government to say, we have acknowledged these are what we have made mistakes in, and these are the steps that we will take to rectify that for them, and also make sure that with these new areas, we don't repeat those mistakes.
Like what you just said, because if you don't spell it out, it's vague.
Yes, vague.
You don't want to repeat, but then you don't have it itemized. Exactly, what does that even mean?
Let me take the story of oil marketers. Everybody in Lagos already knows that we are experiencing renewed fuel scarcity, but the truth is, they had said it earlier, the reasons for this, now they've added more. One of the reasons they said before was scarcity of access to foreign exchange, which is used to pay for the shipment of crude or of petrol from the mothership to the daughter ship, and they're still suffering that. But in addition to that is the fact that the cost of moving petrol from depot from tank farm to distributors has increased is now about 200 naira per litre. Wow. That is transport cost. Somebody in Abuja said that, from the DAPman said, the cost of moving, what used to take 3 days to move from Lagos to Abuja now takes over 1 week to move petrol. The roads are so bad that it takes over a week from Lagos to get to Abuja. In addition to that is the fact that the roads are so bad that the vehicles break down and the cost of repair is also on them. Then there's going to be implementation of 0.5% tax on gross turnover, according to the Finance Act 2020, which is going to be implemented. So they are saying that with the cost of everything we're doing going up, you can't tax us on gross of our turnover. And she also mentioned that the profit margin that fuel is being sold was 40 naira where they were selling at 160, and right now, even when the fuel price is about 200, it's still the same thing. I bought fuel for 210 naira in Lagos, and people are buying. That's like the cost.
There's no fuel.
There's no fuel. So where you are seeing fuel is going higher, especially around Ikosi, GRA, Bega, the Punch listed the filling stations where they saw fuel be sold at 200 and over 200 naira in Lagos.
Yeah, a quick story before we move on. 44 persons on Tuesday lost their lives in separate accidents. It happened along Damaturu-Maiduguri Federal Highway in Bauchi State and Kwali-Abuja Expressway, the Federal Capital Territory. What happened was that they were both overspeeding and collided into each other. And the first accident that happened in that Damaturu-Maiduguri, the accident happened, the vehicles collided into each other, caught fire, and the passengers were burnt beyond recognition. The same accident happened again, the one that happened at the expressway, Kwali-Abuja Expressway. 17 persons died on the spot as well. So they had to get a permit by the FRC had to get a permit from the commissioner so that they could do mass burial. And what they said is a lot of overspeeding is happening, especially this Yuletide period.
That's where the roads
people
are good.
Traveling, people need to be very, very careful. So let's move on quickly to the Sun, Daily Sun. G5 governors storm Abia tomorrow for Ikpeazu. PDP told to discipline unruly governors. Court refuses to order INEC to resume continuous voter registration. We've taken that. 2023 polls, Atiku Obi present plans to can. Media adopts co-regulation framework, code of ethics. Sanwo-Olu pledges continued support for the homeless, less privileged. NNPC begins first oil exploration in North amid Buhari's caution. Learn from Niger Delta experiences, President advises. 20 million out of school children ticking bomb, Obasanjo warns. All thefts, Senate reports fails to indict perpetrators. Buhari unveils redesigned Naira notes today. What stories do we have in the Sun?
So, the governor met with governor of Lagos State West with the beneficiaries of the Eco Inspire Me project. This project is the one founded by Ara Lola Lumiwa. She talked about it on the show here. Ara talked about how she met some hoodlums 10 years ago, and that inspired this project, where she plans to change 2,000 area boys and girls, change their life by, the Eco Inspire Me project. The governor also pledged continuous support to help her in changing the situation of the less privileged and these people in this group, homeless, of course, in this group.
Okay. So the Nigerian media industry has adopted the new co-regulation and code of ethics to address ethical and professional concerns in the industry. They had a stakeholders roundtable meeting, and at that meeting we had Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, INPAN, Nigerian Guild of Editors, NGE, Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, and the Guild of Corporate Online Publishers. So at the end of that round meeting on the 14th of November, they issued a communique. A lot of things. First of all, they all agreed that it was a successful turnout, and the few of the things I liked that I picked out and I thought that it's important to read out. So some of the things that they got, they said, one, sanctions for violation of the codes of these new codes that they have. These revised codes will be determined by the Ombudsman, and then they're inserting in the Bill of Rights. And this is to see to the welfare and safety of journalists. And also, they said investigative journalism by making public interest exception in instances where undercover methods may be used to obtain information. So to protect journalists, they have to use undercover, and protect their rights in some way. Then also, for me, I think it's really important, distinguish between paid content and editorial content to preserve the integrity of editorial integrity. It is very important now, because anybody comes up, drops information just because of your face or your influence.
People take it and run.
Take it as news. Yeah. So it's important we know the difference when you're paid and then when you're giving real stories.
Let me quickly take the story of the G5 governor. The G5 Integrity Group, that's the 5 governors from PDP, Rivers State, Benue State, Enugu State, Seyi Makinde, and Governor of
State.
Abia
Why did you
State.
giggle when they said integrity group? Why?
I don't know. But the story is that the 5 governors are going to be supporting one of their own in person in the launching of the governor of Abia State, Dr. Ikpeazu's campaign to become a senator. They are going en masse to support him, and all the PDP candidates, they are unveiling the new, the governorship candidate for Abia State. That's Professor Uche Okene and Oke Igwe as their and other candidates there. I'm still going to ask this question. It's not part of the story. Please, when a governor moves to Senate, they've paused all the entitlement he gets as a former governor, right? Because we need to confirm that. Is it federal or is it state by state? Because you cannot be a governor, become a senator, and still be collecting the same.
Now who I go ask?
So I just feel like everybody should ask that question, because a lot of our governors are in the Senate. Should they be collecting salary from Senate and collect salary from... It shouldn't be left to their goodwill to relinquish it. It should be legal.
My sister, let's move on to the Nigerian Tribune. I don't have an answer to that question. I'm telling you. So, assembly crisis, allow democratic process, Ekiti elders tell APC leaders. Buhari unveils new Naira notes today. I've taken that story. Nigeria earned $741 billion from oil gas in 22 years, NATI, to release 2021 industry audit. Khan meets Obi and Atiku. Buhari in Bauchi, Gombe border town, flags of oil exploration. 2 policemen, 59 others die in Borno, Plateau, Abuja, Kogi auto crashes. Media adopts new co-regulation code of ethics. Do we have any stories in the Tribune? Okay, there's no time. If we don't have, let's move on to the Vanguard. Do we have any stories in the Vanguard?
I didn't see the Vanguard.
Okay, not at all. Not at all. All right. Okay, that's all we can take.
Let me quickly just correct
the headline.
I said that the NYSC former DG was sacked.
Okay.
Our producer insists he was removed.
Sacked.
Sacked from office. I said he was removed.
Okay, and they said he was
sacked
sacked
from office.